Welcome to the Determined Mom Show, the only marketing podcast dedicated to guiding mom CEOs into tranquility, wealth, and multiplying those precious moments. Welcome to episode 183 of the Determined Mom Show. Today, I want to talk about why WordPress is still the best platform for business websites. There are so many reasons, and I'm only going to touch on a few of them today, because I always hear people using Wix and Squarespace and all of these other kind of box in the box kind of websites where you can just go and plug in your information. Those are great. And that is very easy, especially if you're a beginner. But I also like people to consider when they're building their website that you are going to grow as a business. So your business today is not going to be the same as it is 5 years from now. If you have that vision of having a business long-term, WordPress is going to be able to grow with you. The first thing I'm going to say about WordPress is that Google loves it. So Google loves WordPress for SEO because you can actually manipulate every single thing on the website, and it allows you to give all of the right signals to Google without even having to do a lot of searching and hunting and figuring out. And also it allows you to stay in control. Like you can control, if you have a sitemap, what your sitemap says, what robots can crawl your website. I mean, you just have so much control over everything when you have a WordPress site. And I know there is a little bit of overwhelm when people think about, that WordPress site. I do have a little mini course for WordPress and how to kind of just set up your WordPress site really quickly to take away that overwhelm. So I hope you enjoy that. I will put the link to that in the show notes. It's a free course and it is pretty easy to go through. The second reason that I absolutely love WordPress for businesses is because it's flexible. So let's say you are a business, right? And I don't know, let's say a coach. I'm going to use a coach, or even a hair salon. Hair salon's like my go-to for a lot of things. So we'll go back to hair salon. So if you're a hair salon and you want to sell your products online, you can actually add a store to your WordPress website. You don't have to go to a separate platform for that. You can do appointment bookings through your website. You don't have to go through a separate platform for that. And I see that as being one of the biggest mistakes that salons make, even though a lot of those tools that they tried to sell you, like Vagaro and Book Me and all of those different platforms, they're taking people away from your website. Okay. They're not keeping people on your website. And it's very important for you to be able to keep people on your website as long as possible so you can get more information from them. You can find out more about where they're coming from. I mean, there's just so many reasons why you want people on your website. And if you send them somewhere else, they're not going to be able to do that. You could use an embedded tool if they have that on your website, which I would highly recommend doing that. But most of the salons that I've seen direct people to another website, which is definitely a mistake. The other thing that you can do is you could add a membership. You could add a community. Let's say you have a hair salon and you want the stylist to have their own community and you want customers to be able to communicate with them. You can actually add that to your WordPress site. So easy, so simple. And it's just amazing the things that you can do with WordPress. WooCommerce allows you to have a store on there. And then also there's so many different integrations for stores that you can truly customize it to have exactly what you need on there. And it's just extremely flexible. So you're not going to have to keep reinventing your website every time you want to add something. You can add a podcast, you can add a blog, you can add all of these things on that one site, and your customers can just go to that one place and have everything there. Very important. The third thing, well, I guess this is still something that I've already talked about, is just that control of having, being able to control everything from, the sitemaps to how many pages there are to every single thing. There's just so much that you can control. And I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty of that, but it's important. The fourth thing is integrations. There are so many tools that integrate with WordPress. It is harder to find things that integrate with Wix easily and Squarespace and all of those other, I will call them tertiary platforms that are kind of in the background there. And it's because they haven't been around as long. WordPress has been established for decades, and it's a very, very strong platform. It's not going anywhere. It's just growing. And so knowing that it's something that's not going anywhere and that doesn't run the risk of, shutting down or whatever, I think is a really important part of that. And that the integrations are direct. So you don't have to go through Zapier for most WordPress integrations. It's actually a direct integration with whatever tool that you're using, because everybody, for the most part, has WordPress APIs. The fifth and final thing is that you get to choose who you host your WordPress site on, like who is your website host. And this is absolutely the most critical decision that you'll ever make regarding your website, because there are hosts out there that are just absolute crap. I had a pick my brain call with someone last week, and we had to reschedule it because actually we had to reschedule it twice. We only got to a portion of her work because her website was down, and she had to spend half the time that we were on our call on chat with Bluehost, which is her host. And they figured it out, and they said the first call that it was up, the second call, it was down again. So knowing that you have the right hosting in place, the right reliable host is extremely important. I highly recommend DreamHost. That is the host that I use. That's the host that I try to move all my clients to, because it allows them to have their own account, and it also allows them to let me have access to their account. So it's super easy for me to go in and make changes and help them with anything that they need. They're also extremely reasonable in price, and they are very, very responsive. So I've never been more than like third in the queue for the chat. I only ever use the chat because I don't like talking on the phone, but you can use the phone. And I have a VPS there, which is a virtual private server. And I think we are up to like 20 or more websites on there. And it's just so affordable compared to any other service. Like, how can I have a very fast server that hosts up to 20 websites, or probably more than that, because I'm only using about 50% of the storage space? I have all of those websites, and they're all functioning, and they're never down. And it's just a great host. So those are the 5 reasons why I absolutely love WordPress and why it is still the best platform for business websites. So 1, Google loves it. 2, it is extremely flexible, so you can add to it as your business grows. 3, you have absolute complete control over everything about it. 4, the integrations are native integrations and do not need to include Zapier or Zapier, however you say it. And then 5, you can choose your own host, which determines your experience as a WordPress user. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. And as always, you can reach me at amanda@thedeterminedmom.com if you have any questions. Thank you for listening to The Determined Mom Show. We appreciate you, and we would love for you to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. This will help us reach as many other moms as we can. Don't forget to download your 10 things you should be doing to get more clients from Google Search Guide at rebrand.ly/Google10.